KCLR and it's Roddy Clear's Irish Music Show on this Sunday evening, and it's coming very close to that time of year again, and regular listeners to this programme will know that obviously we play all Irish music, but you will also know that my love of Irish music can really be rooted back to my love of Thin Lizzy and when I first discovered them. And this coming January the 4th, believe it or not, is 30 years since Philip Lynott passed away. You have to kind of mull that around in your head a few times. 30 years, it's a long, long time. And I always say that almost same line to the next gentleman on the telephone on the programme with me. And that's, of course, Mr. Vibe himself, Smiley Bolger. Hiya, Smiley.
Not too bad, Roddy. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks.
Good.
I do say that to you every year. I cannot believe it's. But this time, I mean, 30 years is a darn long time.
It's nearly as long as he lives.
Yeah.
3 years, and there'll be as many remembrances as there was birthdays.
Yeah.
You know.
And so 30 years is this is going to be quite a special one. This is the one. Very good. This is going to be quite special, I would imagine.
Yeah. I reckon so. You know, like it's very potentially the last one as well. You know.
So it's the 20th.
I say that every year. I know already. Everybody says that to me, but I'm getting a bit too old for this game. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, at the same time, I think 30 years, it might be kind of just a fitting time, perhaps.
Perfect.
To finish.
It's perfect. If you're looking for a way out, this is it.
Yeah. So with that in mind, then, we always talk, when we talk like this, about the lineup for this year.
Okay,
so
well, I'll give it to you very quickly. Like Eric Bell is doing a trio jobby.
Right.
Brian Downey has just been added to the bill.
Excellent.
You're the first one to know that because it only happened yesterday. And then Jerome Rinson and Gus Isidore, who were the Soul Brothers, they both played on the solo work with Philip, right? And the Lowriders, as you would expect. And Paris from Holland, who will do, classic Tin Lizzy set, all the hits. The Lowriders will do all the odd stuff. The Hoodoos featuring John Conlon, who is probably the finest, the nearest thing to the real thing, voice-wise.
Vocally, yeah.
And then Mongoose, the old girl band who had a beautiful version of Old Town. You might have seen the video.
I have indeed.
And Feek Moriarty.
Fiach, yes, Fiach is featured on this program a few times.
Yeah. He came to me through my brother, and my brother had met him on Sunshine, And then Philomena, of course, her usual rant, and myself as MC.
As MC, and it's all happening in Vicar Street again this year, which is kind of the spiritual home, as you call it.
The night before, which is grand rehearsals for the main event. And there's a Young Rockers matinee on the Sunday afternoon, on the 3rd also. So it's really the Young Rockers matinee at 3 o'clock, the pre-vibe that night at 8:30, and then the main event on Monday the 4th.
The Young Rockers vibe is something that has really captured the imagination of a lot of people, if only because... by its title, The Young Rockers, we get very young kids in there, 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever, and they're as clued in on Philip's music as we are, and we're at it a long time. It's quite stunning, isn't it?
It's very dear to my heart, right? We do it every year. We've been doing it for years, right? It wasn't always getting the same response as it is now, but my attitude was to it. That's where we all started, right?
Yeah.
That's where Philip started. That's where Brian started. That's where we all started, like going to gigs on a Sunday afternoon when we couldn't get in anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Was it
as young as 15, 16? Yeah. That's where I started, anyway.
Yeah. Well, can I remember here home in Kilkenny going down to gigs on a Sunday morning? 50 pence it cost to get in, and it was a fortune. It was great fun. It was great fun indeed.
It's probably about 2 currencies back, is it?
Oh, probably 3 at this stage. Going back to Jurassic times. How important was it for you to get a name? I mean, we all, regular vibers or people who go to the Vibe will know about the Lowriders in Paris and those. But the likes of Eric and Brian this year being involved, was it important, particularly for the 30th anniversary?
Well, it's always important, like some people would have been expecting, the Black Star Riders and Joe Elliott and Huey Lewis and Slash and blah blah blah.
If only,
right?
yeah, if only.
And if MCD were doing it, they could probably pull off something like that. But like we're a cottage industry, and we're probably concerned with the music more so than
yes,
big names, because as you know and I know, big names don't necessarily mean big performance.
That's very true. It's very true. But I think you're quite. I don't want to use the word safe with Eric, because that's not. It's not really the word I want to use. But it's reliable. We know that Eric will give his heart and soul, as I'm sure Brian will as well.
I don't think like when you're talking about guitar players, I don't think you're going to, And Eric is getting on now. He must be 70 if he's a day, right? But like, the tone of his guitar, I don't think you're going to come across anybody else with that tone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The same way as Gary distinguished himself with his tone, as Jimmy Faulkner did with his tone, as Pat Farrell does with his tone. Guitar players are very lucky, if they manage to get that one together.
Yeah.
Like they have their sound. Their sound is their trademark. And Eric would never let himself down,
Yeah. And with regard to Brian, I know you've been talking to him for the last little while. So where's he going to fit in on the night?
Well, he's going to sit in with a few people. You know what I mean? That is the plan.
Yeah.
Most likely it would be Eric for a couple of numbers, 2 or 3 numbers, and it'll
That'll
be the
be
Low
special.
Riders for another couple of numbers.
Himself and Eric together would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to put up 2 kits of drums, you know what I mean? So the other drummers don't necessarily have to leave the stage, but they'll just sit back, let him be the main focus.
Yeah.
I mean?
It'll be. I think a lot of people would just be very happy to see him there, regardless.
Jesus, like same with me. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course, course.
It's great having 2 of them. There's only one missing. That's why Eric called his band the Eric Bell Trio -1. That was Eric's idea.
Very good. Yeah,
some
excellent.
sort of Northern Ireland humour.
And Jerome Rimson and Gus Isidore as well. Both of those, as you mentioned at the outset, they played with Philip during his solo career.
Yeah.
And did Jerome play the Vibe before?
He did. Yeah.
He did. Yes. Yeah.
And so did Gus.
Yeah. But it's been a while now since Gus was there.
Oh yeah, it is. I think it's it's a fair few years.
Yeah,
18, I think.
So will they be concentrating then on the solo stuff?
Oh yes, indeed, very much so. You know what I mean? That's what they'll be doing. Eric will be concentrating on the early stuff. The boys will be concentrating on the soul period. Paris will be doing all the classic hits. The Lowriders will be doing
everything.
A lot of eclectic B-sides and what have you.
Right.
Same with the Hoodoos with John Conlon. They'll be doing a sort of a collective mix. Then Mongoose are only doing a couple of songs, 2 or 3, and the same with Feek.
So Feek and Mongoose are the earlier part of the night, obviously.
Well, they fit in nicely, between the electric changeovers.
Yeah.
Because both of them are semi-acoustic. So it helps keep the show flowing,
Right, so the nitty-gritty of it then, if people want to find out more, they can go to vibeforphilo.com, or you can catch Vibe for Philo on Facebook as well if you want to join that group there, which can be very informative and heated at the same time. But if people want to get tickets, Smiley, what's the story there?
Well, there's picture tickets available through Dawn McCarrick. She has a website. I can't remember what it is, but it's linked on the Vibe site.
Right.
And then there's Ticketmaster, the big one. Right.
That's where you can
and
get
then
mostly,
Freebird, Mojos, and Sound Cellar for picture tickets. And whatever it'll probably sell out in advance this year.
Yeah, hopefully.
So there probably won't be many tickets available on the night.
So it's Monday. It's on a Monday, and you've always done it on the date, and that in itself, I think, is a major feat to be able to carry it off on the actual date. If for people out there, if the 4th of January falls on a Wednesday, the gig happens on a Wednesday.
We have done every night of the week at least 3 or 4 times over. You know, but like I couldn't do it any other day.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would work any other day.
Yeah, and I think people expect that now. Anyway, at this stage they do.
Well,
of course they do.
I don't think we're going to change now
No.
after 29 years.
It'll be a bit late, all right, Smiley, I think, yeah, at this stage.
we stick with the plan.
So what's your own gut feeling then for this one being the last?
I'm really looking forward to it. You know, like I'd never say never, right?
Yeah.
You know, regarding the last, but if there is one next year, it'll be, you know, way slimmed down. It'll be back to, you know, back to where we started. You mean?
Well,
and I'd love a new crew to take over, you know, and they go back to the very beginning.
They could not do it. Again. They could not do it as good as the crew that you have there, Smiley. In fairness, because they know it. They know it inside and out.
A lot of them are retiring this year, unfortunately. You know,
they're all on the Zimmer frames.
They've committed themselves up to the 30s, and
that's it. Yeah. They signed in for the 30-year lease at the time.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. But do you think, hand on heart, that this could be it? You know, as we know it now.
It'll definitely be the last big one, you know, for a while, because like the next possibility is 33 or 35 or 40,
yeah.
And how many of us will be around for 40?
Oh, gosh,
I wouldn't put money on me making that.
Never say never, Smiley. Never say never. But you know, as you know yourself, I think a vibe will always happen because the vibe for me always stood for was just people gathering in his name on that date, be it 3,000 people, 30 people, or 2 people. You know, and if people turn up, if it's not on next year and people arrive at Bruxelles and have a few drinks, that's the vibe. You know where I'm coming from. So, and I think that's what you always intended, certainly in the early days, anyway.
I think the show is important though as well, and the quality of the artists, right? I think that's been our saving. You know, you can bullshit about a lot of things along the way, PR and blah blah blah, da da da. Get publicity through all sort of ways, but I think. At the end of the day, the show, apart from all the, great comradeship around the North Star and, the pre-vibe and everything, the quality of the music is really it's been our calling card, because we wouldn't have got away with it for this long.
And there have been some great highlights down through the years. You're going to have to release some kind of a CD or DVD again, Smiley, kind of get it all together in one spot.
Well, it won't be this year anyway.
No, I kind of, as I said it to you, I kind of thought that as well. No, you just want to hear that.
It's too close to the mark now to pull off anything like that,
So you're pretty much everything is in place now. It's just now a matter of the run into it. Yeah.
No, I'm really looking forward to it, because the fact that we started a bit earlier this year.
Yes.
And it's made everything very very relaxed, and we're way ahead of schedule and everything. So it's actually very enjoyable, at this stage.
This year it's the Vibe for Philo, the 30th anniversary, and you've subtitled it the Sun Goes Down. So that's the song we're going to play now, Smiley, as we always do to kind of finish out what we talk about. I'm going to say it to everybody out there at the moment on their behalf. Thank you very much, Smiley. I mean, I think it's an incredible feat to have done it every year without a break. No, come hell or high water, you've managed to get it there. And I know you've had your detractors, and you've had your people, your people who criticised you left, right, and centre. But you've come through it with flying colours. And everybody out there listening to this, who know you and know the vibe, will say hats off to the great Smiley Bolger, the leg end that you are, Smiley.
Get out of here,
Smiley. We will see you on the 4th of January.
Okay.
Thank you as always for the chat.
Everything going well.
And this is Philip Anthony Lizzie, and the title of this year's Vibe. This is called The Sun Goes Down. Smiley Bolger, thank you a million. Thanks a million.
Thanks, Roddy. Cheers. Bye.